All set back there?
You live?
I should hope so.
All
I was
right.
asking if you were alive, but.
Welcome everybody to the select board meeting. It is April 1st. Happy April Fools. Hopefully we don't have much of that here today. We'll open like we usually do with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, with that.
Would you like me to go downstairs? Apparently the electricity went off and the camera's not focused right.
Oh.
Hello.
If you have the ability to redirect it and do that, sure.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay. So we're sorry that the camera is probably facing at a random wall. Dana's gonna go try to fix that for you. Now you should still be able to hear us correctly though. So we'll keep going. Roll call. Dave Hemingway, Chair of the Select Board.
Marlo Herrick. Norman D. Blake.
And Norman D. Blake. So we have all three of the select board members. We do have Dana, our town administrator here, who just went down to try and fix the camera. And our assistant town administrator is out today as expected. And that will move us forward towards announcements, of which I'll wait and see if Dana and others have them. So I'm going to jump in with a quick rules of order ahead of time. We have not adopted any policy, though I believe we'll be talking about this in the future. So just to reiterate my typical rules of policy or rules of order that I haven't said much, I operate like a school. So if you have something to say, please raise your hand. I will try to get to you. Please don't cut other people off. That's about it. I'd like to keep it simple rules. So we will try that. So moving forward to announcements. Does anybody here on the board have announcements to make?
I do. There will be an April Webster grapevine. Be a little late, but it'll be out there.
Awesome.
So if anybody has anything they want to put in, give me a call or email me fast.
All right.
It's kind of a long one.
That's all right. Send it to me.
I will do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further announcements?
Nope, we're here.
All right. So with that, I'm going to wait another second for Dana to come up and make further announcements. So I just want to thank our emergency services for all of the work that they've put in over the past storm. It has been amazing to see everybody working together and to hear the feedback directly from the utilities of how well it was working in town and being able to get people to take care of things with them and for them. So thank you both and your departments. Hopefully you won't have to do a whole lot of that in another couple days. But hopefully it will be simple in that it will just be some snow to take care of instead of a million down wires. That being said, I know we have department heads here. Do you have announcements that you'd like to make?
Not really, other than the fact that if we do lose power over this storm, because it's gonna be wet heavy, we're gonna open up the community room at the fire station for anybody that's gonna need it. So we'll probably post some hours depending on, so at least that way they'll have some power, some lights. There's a kitchen there and
Yes,
fire station is,
that one night we were there I had
Yep.
somebody there all night because they have to answer the phone because fire alarm gets so busy down there. Each department has to take over and take care of their own stuff, so, there was somebody there most of the night through the storm, the last storm, if anybody needed anything, but.
and if not, we will. There'll be
And I
one
had
of us.
opened up the hall here a couple different times. At some point, we do have a discussion scheduled with either the two of you and or emergency management, just so we can lay out what everybody expects to see from the town and when we may or may not open here, up there, or our actual emergency shelter in town, which is the school. Did you have any announcements?
No, I did not.
All right. So with that, let's go ahead and move into our appointments. Looks like we are starting with planning board alternate appointments.
This is, Russ had given me a couple of gentlemen who were interested, and I didn't know if he had invited them or not. John Jewett. Mr. Jewett's here, Dean Lamprin, and Mr. Lamprin's here.
Oh, perfect.
So, they've expressed interest to be appointed to the planning board.
All right. And these are both alternate positions?
No, these are full positions.
Because here it says alternate appointments.
Yeah.
It is alternate.
Oh, it is alternate, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you come on down, gentlemen? And we'll just ask you a couple quick things and,
You can have a seat there if
yeah,
you'd
feel
like.
free to have a
Yeah,
seat. We-
or stand, whatever you want to do.
you can do whatever makes you
We're pretty
happy
easy.
for it. So welcome and thank you for volunteering. I know that plenty of boards are always looking, and so it's wonderful when we have people that step forward to do so. I know at least one of you has been involved with several things at town before, but why don't we just take a second, let you both state your name and why you want to be and why you think you should be a part of the planning board.
Well, I'm Dean Lamprin. I live on Little Hill Road. I guess why I want to just be a little bit more involved in the town government and operations. You know, I don't know what beyond that I expect, or basically that's it.
All right.
Thanks.
John Jewett, I live over on Franklin Pierce, on the lake. Just see if I could help out the town, that's all.
Oh, thank you. Are there any particular skills or things that you think you're going to bring as part of a vision or a side or a skill towards the planning board that may help them more than others, or?
Good question. Not having been involved to know the structure and the works and whatnot, but I've got background in police, background in fire, and background in supervision in the military, so if any of that enters into helping in any way I can, then
Absolutely, you know, a lot of it is, you know, what the rules are set for the town, and then we have to, you know, make them happen at times, but, or sometimes looking at things to either expand the rule or tighten it up, so, absolutely.
Or clarify.
Or clarify,
Yeah.
okay, that's even a better word.
Yes.
Well, I spent 30 years in the Navy, so I'm a retired command master chief. I spent some years working for the state and I spent some years working for the federal government. So I know a little bit about how things work. Probably enough to be dangerous.
Right?
Awesome.
We'll see.
As someone that got thrown under the bus, planning board alternate is where I started this whole adventure, and ended up here afterwards, after a few more years. So welcome. It is absolutely the place to make sure you already understand everything that's going on in town and how it works, and then work with it. That's where things like our zoning codes come from. So thank you very much. Any further questions from the board beyond our standard ones?
No, I'm glad volunteers are great.
All right.
I just wondered if, say I was gonna volunteer, where would I find some rules and regulations? Where, is it on the website, or is there a book somewhere?
So
Just to like, sort of get you going.
Yeah, so all of the rules, regulations, or ordinances, policies, in this case, things like zoning code, all of those things are available on our website. Dana or Russ can get you any of those. Russ specifically associated with anything that's planning board related. He can fill you in on everything. And then talking with either these gentlemen and or the folks at planning board can make a recommendation to have you be appointed. Or you can just volunteer to be appointed, so.
Yeah, but it just feels like, for me, I would want to read up on something.
Yep.
Just to have,
Oh, we have plenty of reading for you downstairs.
just to know.
Well, see what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, yeah.
The two main things currently that the planning board typically deals with are the zoning and the driveway regulations.
And they're
of
written
things.
down in
Yes.
very specific form,
Correct.
probably? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And any
Pages.
regulation that somebody might wanna bring amongst the town,
Mhm.
kinda like when we had the wetlands situation.
And variance,
Variances, well, yeah, we do, well, no, that would usually be
There, so
the,
there's conditional uses that typically fall into planning board, and then if it goes to be a variance, that's usually a request through the zoning board, or the ZBA. ZBA and planning board do work on a lot of similar things, but it's, planning board kind of does the structure, ZBA does the decisions, enforcement, or can we break this?
right, are we gonna allow it?
Yes.
That's a ZBA side.
Anyway, so thank you, and hopefully that piques your interest as well. Any other questions before we go ahead and accept these?
Nope.
Do you have the forms with the two names?
Well, I noticed that the forms are not correct. I need to add the alternate member
Aha,
rather
okay.
than things. So I thought what I would do, before you leave tonight, I'll do that. And I will leave these, after you sign them, with the town clerk. And
With the-
then when you can, if you come in and see her, she'll swear you in.
Okay. So I would move that we accept the planning board alternates presented to us.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you and welcome.
That was painless.
See you on Thursday of the month,
Good, good.
third Thursday.
All right, that moves us on to appointment with Edison for drainage.
I do have a couple more that I'd like to sneak in here if I
Are
could.
these-
These are reappointments.
Ah,
One is Adam Mock to the planning board,
Mhm.
and the other's Martin Benson to the ZBA. I've
Didn't bring
spoken
an
with
extra
both
pen,
of
did you?
those gentlemen, they indicated they were agreeable to that.
Okay, so we just have to sign these.
actually, yes.
Oh, good, cause I changed over first.
Assuming
Don't ever
you
do
wanna
that.
Assuming the other
Appoint
one's
them.
yours. So, just for the sake of it, these are planning board and ZBA?
Yes.
I would move that we accept the reappointment of the presented planning board and zoning board members.
A second.
Martin?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm not sure we need to actually make a motion since we're signing, but why not? Further ones?
No, thank you.
Okay, so that moves us on to Edson and the drainage issue.
I don't see Edison, so
All right, that moves us on to Dorothy and the History Committee.
Right. We actually have altered what we are going to propose, and it has to be run by the board of the Historic Society. So I would like to postpone that, if that's okay?
Okay.
And I can get you a new proposal as soon as the board, the trustees, the Board of Trustees reviews it.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything that you'd like to state at this point, or just wait until then?
I did have some questions about the financials of this committee.
Okay.
Because if we sell things, we have to know what to do with the money. So I ran some questions by Dana, and we've come up with what we think might work. So that's what has to be approved first.
Okay,
That's it.
sounds good, thank you.
Okay.
All right, moving quickly through appointments. That moves us on to Pete and Amherst Drive lots.
Hi, everybody. So mine's probably gonna be the most unpopular one. As you know, I've built a lot of houses in town on a lot of lots, some of them on undeveloped roads, paper roads, classics roads. Developing in other towns and knowing what, is going from the state right now, where they're gonna be force feeding a lot of zoning requirements to every town between density, ADUs, et cetera. we're looking at opportunities to, kind of reintroduce our affordable entry-level home product. And right now, in the way things are currently with standardized lots and pricing, construction, and all that, I mean, an affordable home to me isn't $500,000. I mean, it's not even 400, but let's face it, that's the sign of the times. So I went to Dana, because we have some opportunities here in this town, and I own a couple of these lots on Amherst Drive, and the way to really start to, grow Webster, make it affordable still, is to take some of these lots and develop them on Amherst Drive. Town owns a lot of them, and we propose to, maybe the town sell some of these assets so we can put them on the tax map. Challenges are they're paper roads right now. We can have easements to have shared driveways and all that, but we have to develop a road as well into a private road to reduce town cost, infrastructure, et cetera, so it's not having to go out and take care of additional resources. So I put in front of the Dana, brainstormed with Russ as well, what's the way to go? Obviously, we have zoning and planning obstacles we have to get through, but first would be obtaining the lots that the town owns. We own 2 of them right now. I think the town owns 8 on there.
Something like that, yeah.
And we excluded the ones that were it would be a DES nightmare. They're just wet and they should be in conservation permanently. And part of our process would be is the density development's the responsible way to go, because you're not taking 5 acres and letting somebody do whatever they want with it. You're keeping it small, you're putting a lot of land in conservation, which, I mean, everybody hates Pillsbury Lake, but that's kind of the model that a lot of places are following right now. There's a lot of conservation land there on smaller lots, smaller footprints, which I think helps out the growth of Webster responsibly without, having, a 2-acre lot that somebody, let's face it, they're gonna clear up the 3 acres without a alteration of terrain permit, they can have a farm. There's a lot of things you can do without state approval, and that's not preserving resources. That's, using them up pretty quick. So what we propose and looking to Dana is to see if the town would be willing on that first step to put those assets out to bid. And then we would follow through with planning and zoning, and probably starting the development process with 2 lots, as Pillsbury Lake has a limited growth, and then expand on to that.
Okay. I know that previously we had talked about trying to figure out which ones or all of these that we were going to be putting up for bid and or grouping together for combined bids.
Mm-hmm.
So in light of the request, without going into further details, are we basically ready to have that discussion or no?
As far as the discussion,
For the sum of the town-owned properties in Amherst Drive?
the dollar amounts, you mean?
Whether it's dollar amounts and or, you mentioned there were a couple that didn't make sense and maybe should be in conservation. Like, have we gone through the process of asking the various boards, the agent in chief and so on for their recommendations?
We have not.
Okay.
No, we have not done that. And as you recall, the Pillsbury Lake section we have a rule about how you sell Pillsbury Lake lots.
Yep.
There are a few abutters down there. And one of your requirements was merging lots to
Yeah.
the purchaser to merge the lot. So I'm not quite sure how that would work out. All these lots were acquired by tax collector's deed.
Okay.
One of them goes back to 1997. And so I just asked Karen today if she could give me the figures of what was owed at the time, and I will calculate the difference. So, but I have not spoken with conservation or planning on this.
So to clarify a piece that Dana just referenced, That is the policy. I'm not staring at it, so this is not word for word, but in essence, what we require in Pillsbury Lake when we put one up for bid typically, because they're tiny lots usually on their own, is that it be offered as a open bid to all of the abutters with a requirement that the winning person merge that into their existing property. This is 7 or 8 or so lots that are all basically in the same area and all within / on the same undeveloped existing road that is part of the original subdivision of Pillsbury Lake. So that being said, one of the last parts of our policy is that the board may waive those restrictions or limitations as long as we state specifically that we are and why. And so that would be something that after we've gotten feedback from the various boards, agents, et cetera, and commissions and committees, that we should look at whether that is worth doing, and then perhaps putting them up to bid as a group of all of them, first as a public open bid instead of just to abutters, before we fall back to the policy of to abutters to specifically merge. So that's my thoughts. I don't see that there's a decision today other than we should move forward and ask all of the relevant committees, commissions, boards, et cetera. Is there?
I think I was looking for you to tell me to do that.
Okay.
So,
So I do have a question.
Yes.
What's taken us so long to take it to the next level? If it's been taxed,
well,
did I
I've been
misunderstand
here
that?
since 2020, so I don't know if I can answer
Well, right, but they've
Before
been
that.
owned by the town for quite a
a
while.
long time.
Yeah,
And I
okay.
think probably the biggest factor is the fact that they are not on a street, they're only on a paper street.
Okay.
With the exception of the corner of one of them is on Manchester.
But they do abut people.
Yes.
Okay.
They do.
But, so we just had, and,
I don't think the town has,
We had briefly talked as a board suggesting that because it's so much land, that we were going to merge it and then put it out to public bid.
okay,
But Russ has been busy, so we never really did that.
okay,
Um,
fair enough.
So, yeah.
But technically, there's no road there.
No.
So
Yes,
this-
Amherst Drive basically doesn't exist.
Right, doesn't exist. So, I would assume the town's not gonna put a road in there. So would that have, basically whoever buys this property, if that's the case, would have to put the road in? And then we would accept it or not accept it?
So it's been a while since I've been on planning board. Maybe Marlo will correct
Yeah,
me.
right.
But usually, when there is an existing plan like this,
Yeah.
that is a paper undeveloped road, it's stating that one may be there, so if a developer wants to do it, they're allowed to. Like, they're just flat out allowed to put the road in
Oh,
because
really?
there is a
Okay.
paper road already approved. That's not
And that was
saying that,
approved
that's
a
not
long
saying
time
that the
ago.
town will do it, that's
Yeah.
not saying that the town will take care of it. The town could, for example, through planning board and other processes, say, well, if you build it to this particular set of specifications, then the town would take it over and maintain it. That may or may not happen, that's not up to us.
No, the other thing is that people could bring it as a warrant article, a petition warrant article to have the town accept it too. I think we've done that in the
I
past.
believe that's possible.
Years ago.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other board questions or comments on this?
No,
Not at this point, I
Okay.
think we'll get the
We need a lot.
recommendations. The only
Yeah.
thing that I would say is, it's kind of a, you know, it's not a bad thing. I
Mhm.
mean, like Pete was saying, I just don't know how the whole town feels about it. So I just sometimes look at that as, it's been there for so long and not been moved,
Mhm.
you know, and like she was pointing out a warrant article to say, hey, it's all right, do we want to sell this property?
Well, I think she was talking about the road.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah,
true,
yeah,
that's
right,
true.
the
But
road.
I guess I still look at it as, asking the people of the town what their thoughts are on it, because it's not like we're gonna, the town makes a lot of money from doing
right.
it per se, correct?
But I think in this day and age
But you
with
make the
people,
income on the property tax.
That's right, no,
And-
for
And
sure,
providing, reasonably
So-
priced homes.
yeah,
Sorry,
So if, that, just say, this was all put together, all these lots, and they were sold as one lot. That person, can they now go back to the original lots and break it up again?
so it depends on what the decisions are from the boards and what comes back as feedback and how it's put up for auction and open bidding. In some cases, they could be merged, and because of the various rules, I'm gonna guess, just looking at them, that they could probably be unmerged into, say, 2 lots. Because 5 acres in, give or take, is a reasonable amount within Pillsbury Lake to be allowed to be split. It could also be put up as, this is a bid for all of these properties, which then they can merge or develop individually as they see fit. That could also be a recommendation and a process.
So it all depends on what everybody says and how,
Right. So all of them are possible, depending on what, for example, Conservation Commission comes back and says, well, these 2 properties are this, so we should do this. Maybe we sell them as a group of all of them, but one of them's already in a conservation easement. And so if you want the whole bundle, you get that too. I'm not gonna go into a million and one
but
scenarios,
there's a lot
but
of
yeah,
possibilities by the time it gets to be sold.
correct. So all of those are possible, depending on what we hear back and decide to put up for bid, if anything.
Well, the one thing that can't happen, they couldn't be merged to one lot.
What was that?
They couldn't be merged to one lot, because I block all of them. I own,
It looks like they actually surround one of the ones that you own, but they are all touching each other, so they could be.
hey, you have a big lot then.
well, I got 2.
Yeah.
Right, and there's something else, I mean,
But-
I'm not against it at all, but, Pillsbury Lake owns all that big tract of land up back there.
Yeah,
And
that's
it was,
preserved.
and it was logged a few years back, and that's the only way they have to get in and out of there, so, they might, have something to say about that as well, because right now, if that's all sold, which is, would be great, I guess but if that Amherst Drive is now private and not owned by the town, that big parcel of land that Pillsbury Lake, the hunting land up back there, unless somebody does an easement or, goes about all that the right way legally, that's gonna be landlocked.
Well, there is access at the corner of New Hampshire Drive.
Yeah,
Up through,
yeah.
up past their pump
Yeah. The
stations.
pump station.
I don't know whether it's the same kind of access, obviously you need to talk with them too, as part of this, but, all right. So thus beginning the information gathering stage of all of this, to see if we can move forward with it. So thank you for bringing it to our attention, Pete. Are there any further initial questions or comments before we get information on this? Yes.
If that was sold as one chunk, the already planned original subdivision probably to Pillsbury Lake would be in effect. The individual wouldn't have to apply for
If they
future
are sold,
subdivision.
if they are sold as a group of properties, correct.
Yeah.
Do have one quick question.
Yeah.
Do you know what the minimum lot size is in Pillsbury Lake District? Do they have one?
They don't, I
There,
don't,
there is a minimum in our zoning regulations, I don't remember what
I
it
think
is
it's
offhand right now.
.22. Okay.
What's that?
I know some of the small lots that are there are smaller than what the current minimum size is if you were to create them.
Yeah.
Do you know what the minimum size is?
I think Chris is right, .22, but really to be responsible, if it's that small, you should really try to merge it to at least have half an acre. Because then you have your proper well and septic
Setback.
distances, and, you know, and have deed limitations on the half acre to 2 bedrooms.
And that will be once it goes through planning board or into planning board, involving the water district as well for what is well septic versus being in the system. Can the system support it if someone wants to, and so on. So further discussions, but not for this board. All right. So I think that gets us where we need to be for that, to find out things in the future. I'm going back to my agenda here. Thank you very much, Pete, for kicking the can so that we can make sure that we take care of the rattle.
We'll see what happens.
All right, that moves us on to department heads. Come on down, gentlemen.
And there's no prizes when you sit there.
While they prepare, Dana, as part of the stuff that we've been working on, has Neil gotten back to you about the transfer station fee schedule and a joint meeting for that?
He has not. Would you like me to contact him and?
Yeah, because we
rattle
keep
it
hearing
in.
about things that are happening and being done, but they obviously can't be without us. So
Oh, really?
we should probably make sure that we have those discussions.
I will call him.
And people are like, hey, this is happening. Oh, really?
Yeah,
No, it's not, because we haven't approved
I
it.
hope not.
Yeah, right.
All right, who wants to go first?
Go ahead, chief.
Thank you. So, last month, the operating budget we have as of a few days ago, 3/28, we've spent $71,256.10 out of our 24 budget. Have 78.36% remaining, so that we're right on par for the whole, should be good for the year. From the 1st to the 31st, it was a busy month, everything but motor vehicle wise. Yeah, only had 22 motor vehicle stops, 3 summonses.
We couldn't go anywhere, all the roads were closed.
Yeah.
We had more things to do other than that, everything was tied up. $403 in fines, and only 1 arrest, which was good. But we had 67 calls for service for the month, which was pretty busy. And it's the typical ones, I mean, I can sift through them, but I think everybody's heard them, because
Yep.
it's a repeat factor every month, it just never fails. It's, we can almost plan on what we're gonna have for calls for the month.
But you also had some more calls with the down trees and
Oh
all
my
the fun
God.
stuff.
I think that's what they're talking about,
A
yeah.
ton of trees and that, and we had all the typical calls, the, you know, mental issues and,
Every time a tree goes down, the burglar alarm goes off,
oh
the
yeah.
fire bell goes off.
A lot of alarms and,
yeah.
road hazards and pistol permits and sex offender registries, all the good things that we really want.
Yes.
But I do have one thing to bring to the board, is for a purchase order for the new cruiser. And I have some, I'll explain a few things. So, I wanted to save some money in this, I didn't wanna spend money. So, I tried to buy a Dodge, cause it's $4,000 cheaper. Over a year waiting time to get one. So, they didn't make 2024 Ford Cruisers like we have, but I found a bunch of 23s, brand new, full warranties, everything, and considerably less money. It's $44,000, so it's a savings of quite a bit. If we want a new one, we're gonna have to wait until end of October, 1st of November, and it is almost $3,000 more. So, 23.
I mean, as long as it's new, whatever.
What is the difference? It's the
Right,
same
brand
warranty, so
new.
why not save the money?
Yeah, good thinking, sir.
So, and I also found a place, it's called MHQ, it's out of Massachusetts. They do everything. You buy the car from them and they completely set it up. So that also saved us, our last bid to setting up the cruiser is $15,635. They'll do it for $14,800, so we save $1,000 there. And we're gonna take out of the police revolving fund, $12,360.70, so that won't come out of the budget. So we'll add that out of our account that we've been getting. So the capital fund will have to spend $46,950, which is, the total cost of the car is $59,310.70. If I waited and got a 25, it's about $7,000 more altogether, so I can't see why.
That's-
They have the car in stock, they have the equipment almost in stock.
That's
Let
great.
them do it, they warranty, they do everything. They do the car and they deliver it to us, and if there's a problem, they have a technician that lives in Ashland who drives by here, going to Massachusetts every day.
Oh.
I don't know why, but he does. Probably because it's, big money, and he's got a take-home car or truck, so he'll stop right here and fix it if there's a problem with it. So I think that's a good deal.
That sounds great.
Sounds good. Speaking of new things for the department, I know you had been talking about picking up both a part-timer and a full-timer. How have those
Yep,
been?
we're doing the background on the part-timer now. The full-timer's been, he came in and talked to us, and he's looking at it, and he's trying to weigh whether the money and time offsets what he's making now, because he's making a lot more money than we can offer him. But he lives right in Salisbury. He's got 18 years of service on, so he would be a great fit. He's an older guy, a lot younger than me, but he's still older, which is good. So I'm hoping that he will take our bid and go for it. So we'll find out.
Sounds good. Let you
And how
look
much,
at that.
how many people will that make at that point?
But he's gonna replace Jordan,
Okay.
so it's just picking up that, because
Yeah.
right now we're spending it in overtime trying to
Yeah.
fill some of the
Filling it there.
slots, so.
Yep.
Be two full-time plus you.
Yep,
And then how many part-timers do we have? And
Two.
then so we might end up with 3.
I'm hoping to get another one.
Which is roughly where we were before.
Yeah, that's where we were before.
All right.
That sounds great.
Is this something we would be signing or just approving, or what's the process that? we
Well, I
should
think you'd
follow?
wanna sign the purchase order.
Yeah.
In the two places, there's the front, and then there's something else in the back.
I think that's what you have to sign.
In the back one?
Did they make it any smaller?
Yeah.
Well, Dana
I know.
figures that
I
out.
don't wanna waste paper.
So-
Since the.
I don't need much room.
Yeah.
Would you want the board to sign this terms and conditions, Steve?
I would think we would just sign the purchase.
Yeah,
order.
that's what I was thinking.
Oh, okay, that makes it
He can
easier.
sign his life away, I know that.
I don't think they
When is
have to
this
sign that.
transaction
I don't think they have to
happening?
sign that. If they sign the purchase order, we can take.
Sounds like
the
it's
rest.
happening right away.
Well, I need to do something, so you have money to do that.
If it's like the last one, it was a 90-day bill, so
I love it. They let you drive a car away without paying for it?
they let us take the car for 90 days and said, we'll bill you.
Geez,
So
I'm gonna have you
I'm okay
my
with that.
negotiation.
they're pretty trusting, I guess.
Well, the cool thing is it is the police department.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say.
they probably know where they'll find them.
Yeah, they will. Thank you.
Well, we can
Thank
do it the
you.
next
Thanks for
round.
saving us money.
Hey.
Appreciate that.
It's gonna come out of my budget, so I just soon turn money
Yeah.
back in, makes me happy.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You should, Pam, you should have gone first.
What he don't spend, I will.
You can save it Band-Aids.
Cool. So, yeah, life has been busy. So we'll start at the firehouse. A couple of Sundays ago, we pressure tested 2,400 feet of 1 3/4 hose. 5 or 6 or 7 of us got together on a Sunday morning, and you have to have that tested every few years, so if somebody's in the building, you know the hose is safe and it's not gonna blow out halfway in between, so it's a good process. When Valley Fire went belly up, I bought not the town, but myself, I was at the auction and I bought the hose machine, the tester. Salisbury uses it and Andover uses it, and, we've been using it here. So, we pulled all the other crosslays off in the 2 engines last Wednesday night. The Wednesday night, I don't know, but the other Wednesday night, and then packed all the stuff on that we had tested. So, 2 Sundays from now, in the morning at 7:30, we'll test what we have left. So instead of having a company come in and do that, so, folks volunteered their time. The new nozzles that we bought for engine 2 we got them, and they're all on the truck. So that's gonna work real great. Let's see, we're at 80 calls to service, but, to date. We had, 15 the other night, probably 10 didn't get called in. So, a lot of folks have been spending a lot of time at the firehouse, which is, great to have everybody that, has the time to help us. We have a good crew. The gas gauge in engine 3 hadn't been working and no one could find the part. I found the part, so that's going over to Charlie Boys. It was gonna go this week, but with the storm, we postponed that. So that will be out of service a couple of days, because you've gotta take the tank down and put the new sending unit in. So that will be all back up and going. The sign down front, we dug the hole there a couple of weeks ago, and Bill worked with us and we built the form, and the next morning we got the concrete. So I've got an electrician that's working with Unitil, and when they get all their stuff figured out, we'll dig the ditch from the pole and set the beater, and then set the sign. So that's well on the way.
Awesome.
And of course, yeah, that's probably pretty much. I know everybody, when there's a storm, everybody has to go, and nobody has any patience, but luckily, through the state, nobody got electrocuted, because there was a lot of wires down, but a lot of people did a lot of stupid things. We go to a lot of classes, we have a lot of training. A downed wire is a live wire. Even if you look up and the breaker's down, somebody has a generator that's not hooked up right or something, that line is energized. The line down at the intersection, the Detour Road and Walker Pond, that was alive the whole storm. You'd put a barricade up, you'd put ribbon across, you'd put cones up, and you'd no more get back in the truck, and a car would drive across that wire that was arcing.
And you could see like flames and smoke
And
coming
it
out.
burned into the tar,
And it drove right through it.
and it's Bashan Garish Road was a disaster. And I took one look at that, and it's like, well, you know better. But the homeowners up there, they cut their way out. And a lot of folks did. And then you get down to Pillsbury Lake, and this woman's walking her dog up through the wires, and all that's down.
Oh,
and
jeez.
the fire chief in Loudon's got a 20-minute video of wires down in the street. He told the folks not to go there. The guy went home, got his Husqvarna, cut the tree, and the kids were playing seesaw on the wire going up and down on it. They ought to be arrested for child abuse. It's he says it's right here. You can watch it.
Oh, my God.
It's just,
Stupid.
we take a lot of chances when you get wobbed up in the wires plowing snow and the trees come down but this man witnessed a young person stepping out of a car one day on a live wire in a motor vehicle accident. And you'll never forget the scream, will you?
You'll never forget it.
You don't have two choices when it comes to electricity. And I don't know how to educate the people, but it's gonna be sad.
You think if we got signs like, I mean, people are naive in a lot of ways. If you got signs saying, if the wire's down, we have a sign saying live wires don't cross or something, would that help at all? They just go drive around
No,
it,
this
right?
one was burning. This one was burning and there's three
It was
cones
on
across.
fire in the street.
And there's three cones across the road with caution tape,
Oh, my
thick
God.
in
Drive right across.
Wow,
Right through it.
wow.
Deer Meadow Road down there past the lake headed to Concord. Three cones across that and they brought the yellow tape down.
I take that all off.
And the brush was down and the woman cleaned the windshield wipers right off the car. Just don't care, she was going home.
Oh, wow, wow.
I'll say the one that surprised me, I can, as stupid as it is, I can kind of understand if a random person does it. What I could not understand was that someone set up cones from the state in 127 to actually be crossing and driving over a wire. Like, the wire was down, and they cordoned off don't go here because of the tree, don't go here because of the tree, go ahead and drive over the wire. On 127, so that had to be the state, and that makes zero sense to me.
So that was this storm. 2 weeks ago, we had quite a windstorm,
Yeah.
and Tyler Road was closed, down at Rose's Garage. And by the time we got that, the chief went all the way around to get it coned off at the bridge. And I had Russell bring me down road closed signs for at Rose's Garage. By the time we left there, from Winnapocket Road, going to Kentucky, what was it, 4 different trees down. And then when the forestry truck was coming back, the tree came out, knocked the telephone pole out into the road, and they did get stopped, so they didn't cause any damage, but they put all that stuff up, but,
They still went around it.
so, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I don't wanna see anybody get,
Well, if it prevents one more dead horse, it's worth it.
yeah. But
But how do you get that word out?
it doesn't matter, you can get it
I
out.
was gonna
but
say,
it-
people
it-
don't listen, it
They go through it anyway.
it doesn't mean
Tattoo it on their
anything to
forehead and it won't sink in.
No.
No.
Pay attention to road signs, they are there for a reason.
Yeah, road closed, you can put a road closed sign up and somebody will get out and turn it aside and, it's like Bashan Hollow, I had Bashan Hollow Road, Bashan Hollow and Garish, I put a road closed sign out because of the wires that were drooping after they cut the wires out, so if they got caught in a car, went down the next day and they were all turned around, the wires were still there, I put the signs back and, it's just,
So, trees bring up a good point with the road stuff. I know as the road agent, you'll go out and make sure that the roads are clear. Oftentimes, there's probably gonna be stuff left off to the side of the road, I would assume, by the time you're done.
yeah.
Just because I've gotten a couple different comments from people about, hey, what are we supposed to do versus what is the road agent supposed to do for cleaning? I figured I'd give you the moment just to let everybody know that.
Well, the way I look at it is, and I can, if somebody has a different idea, what usually happens, and there's one on Roby Road, there's a 100-foot pine tree that was 25 feet off the side of the road, which the right-of-way is 25, so It's well off the right of way. So it goes across the road onto somebody's lawn. So I cleaned up what was in our right of way. I mean, to get up onto somebody's lawn with the backhoe or whatever's and push the log, so who, I mean, whose tree is it? It's, even in a town right away, the trees aren't the town's. If you ask permission to cut the tree down, you still have to leave the wood for the landowner. And that's where there's a fine line there, because I've had 3 different people in town that's called and, oh, I got great big pine trees in front of my house and now I'm scared they're gonna fall down, when are you gonna take them down? But a year ago, if I wanted to take them down the wide net, or just to get the sun in, no, you can't cut them, them are beautiful. Now they want them gone. So,
I would say along with what you're saying is
It's-
if it's, you know, you're gonna pick up what makes it so it's safe to
Yeah.
pass, anything that falls on their property would
right,
be their problem.
and I'll clean up the town right away, and if there's a handful, make it neat, but, I mean, there's only so much money in the budget.
Right.
Well, that's what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
it's not fair to pick up
No.
one person's tree that's not
Right, and
Part of
it's
the-
like,
budget, in a
yeah,
sense.
it's like down on the Dustin Road, okay? This great big, I've got pictures, this great big tree broke off that's 40 feet up on someone's land, came across the road, and our guardrails are all junk.
Oh, jeez.
So it's not a big section of guardrails, but guardrails aren't cheap, so I mean.
Plus the time to put them in, take the old ones out, put the new ones in.
Yeah, well, you hire, because you gotta have special stuff.
somebody to do it
so
right.
CWS does all that, but,
Anyhow.
you probably saw that anyways, but then thumb back and you'll see the tree. So that tree there,
Not a car, a tree.
it was in
No.
the ditch, so it's huge. I pushed it back up a little bit. I mean, I don't know, it's like, if they were $100 bills, they wouldn't want you to pick them up.
That's fact.
So I do know of 2 homes that were damaged with trees that came down, and a carriage shed in a garage, and at least 2 cars
Oh, wow.
in town. And then there is still a tree on a house on Bash and Hollow Road that they're gonna bring a crane in and take off.
Wow.
But
So-
considering,
We're
I mean, it looked like a
lucky.
war zone, so I think we fared not too bad.
No, we,
I,
But just making sure, since we may see more downings in this one, people should expect that you'll clear the right of way,
Yeah.
but
Right.
the rest
Yeah.
should be,
Yeah.
The public
they
can get
should
through.
take care of it.
yeah, and they were all pine trees, and a lot of them snapped up 15 and 20, 25 feet. And,
and a lot of uprooting,
Yes,
yeah,
soils, yeah.
which we'll probably see more of this time than last time.
so I'm gonna clean up the ditches, back to the stone wall, but to start landscaping people's lawns and, hauling stumps off that, yeah, it's all gonna stay until you guys give me a hoot and tell me different.
All right.
Pete had a question.
Yeah.
No, I tell them to also call the utility. The public's, Eversource, Unitil, they have some sort of responsibility sometimes as well, if they're near the poles and all that, so they can try that if they're looking for something.
Yeah, but they loved it to leave their stuff laying around.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
And sometimes
but-
that's in our, not safe for the public.
Yeah, transformer laid up there for how long
Well,
beside the
right,
road, and there's
right.
broken poles sawed up down on Rumford Drive,
Their arborists sometimes just are
and
horrible to deal with, so.
And
I
when
love
there's
calling them.
when there's a bad tree, And I've given up talking to Eversource, because if there's a bad tree
Yeah.
that you know it's gonna fall down, they'll just say it's cheaper for us to put the wires back up.
Yeah.
Heard it 100 times.
And it's so weird, cause you
Yeah,
watch
you're-
them.
It's true.
Absolutely right, because I've had tons of those conversations.
Yeah, we all
Down.
have.
Like, hey Chris Blevins, tree fell, I told you it was going to, come on
Yeah.
down.
And it's weird because I think we all witness this, what they do take down, and you're like, you drive by one, you're like, well, that's a widowmaker right there.
Yeah.
Let's take the wires out. And they leave that. I don't,
If it-
their rhyme to reason is,
Yeah.
if you can figure it out, anybody can figure it
Yeah.
out.
I think it's mostly a workman's comp thing for Ashland, what's the least amount they can do?
I suppose.
And so what do
Cause
have,
they
like a
never
15
seem to
million?
take what is the scary ones that are
They
gonna
have like
take
a-
your lines out,
I think that
to
last
me.
I checked was like a $15 or $20 million contract with Eversource, something stupid.
But you know, if they did those things, took the things that they thought would be dangerous, that's great PR, but they don't think about that stuff. They don't
No,
care, you know? Right, they don't care.
Well, it's
but-
great PR until it's the large tree that someone thinks is beautiful on their
Oh,
property.
well, yeah,
Well,
that's,
but I
It
don't,
takes out their house.
yeah, but I
Yes.
think Pete's got that.
Emmett, I'm wondering, were there any transformers that blew up on Tyler Road on Saturday night? Because I was standing on my back deck and the whole sky, just this big orange bloom, and then went down.
Dan Pendleton told me that it sounded like a freight train came through, and him and his wife walked out to the street, and he said the sky lit up yellow.
Yes.
Yellow. He said he doesn't know what caused it or what blew up or whatever, but he said the night sky just got all yellow, like just a big ball, and he really didn't know what was gonna happen, and then it
And
just,
it didn't come back.
yeah.
I stood out there for 15, 20 minutes thinking, do we have a forest fire?
Yeah.
I mean, is there something to be worried about here? And it never came back.
Yeah,
You don't know what it was though, huh?
well, if I had to say, cause the UFO's been around.
Well, it does make you think like we're in another.
I will say that I've seen, closer down towards the Concord end, but I will say that I've seen them actively restringing and working on some of the high voltage lines.
Well,
So
this
if that
was
happens to be in
due
the correct
west of my
direction.
house.
Oh,
The
okay.
lines are
Yeah,
more
yeah, and it was at
southeast.
night.
And it,
Yeah,
it was.
yeah.
It was after the power had gone down, so
Yeah.
sometime after 7.
Yeah,
And I'm just standing on the deck, and it was like I actually thought there was a bomb going off. It was
Yeah.
so big a glow.
cause Dan lives on Tyler Road.
I was thinking if they managed to
Down
have
by-
like a tree come down across those high voltage lines,
Yeah.
that would do that.
Them high voltage lines, usually
There wouldn't be
Higher
tree
than the
left.
trees.
No. And the
No,
power
it's-
would be out for a long time. so-
The good news is you're not crazy, cause somebody else saw it.
Well, I didn't really think I was crazy.
No, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, when you look at it, you see, you're saying, what, how is this
Well, it's like the
possible?
other morning, it was snowing, just getting done snowing. And I'm going down by Addie's, down Pleasant Street. And I look over towards Bosquen and my heart's, whatever, so I back up because the whole sky was glowing. But it must have been Market Basket, because I couldn't find out, there was no fires anywhere. But the sky was just, it was just a glow.
Yeah.
And
Light pollution.
So-
We don't need
Yeah.
denser
And
population.
then after I
Big
scoped
problems
it
with
all
light
out,
pollution.
I would almost say that's what it was Market Basket down there.
UFOs.
The liquor store was lit up.
So moving on to another road topic
convenient
for you. That should be fairly straightforward, I think, instead of what tree's gonna come down. As part of planning for the future, what's the expectation for costs and such for getting the rest of the way up the hill with the new sand shed access road? Like, what should we be looking at and expecting to see there so that we can start planning towards the next steps?
Well, the next step, I was gonna get up to through the stone wall, and then, there's stumps up there. The prior owner had that all logged and, clear cut. And he had an excavator up there for how long?
Yeah, long time.
and them stumps were either buried or windrowed. And I walked up through there the other day and, what is that stuff, 8, 10 feet, 12 feet tall now?
At least.
So that's gotta be cleaned off so you can see what's going on.
Well, so what is the, in order to get up there and complete the road portion that you've got going, what are you kind of expecting as a rough
For money?
range of costs, yeah? That way we have some idea of what to plan
What,
for
what
with
is in the, what's in our budget for
with
that?
our
Do we
fund,
know?
et cetera.
What's in the fund?
And I'm sure we haven't added to the fund yet, though there wasn't a lot added this year.
Stand by. $133,996.97.
And what's come out of that is what he's already done.
What he's already done has already come out of that fund.
And that'll be plus whatever was voted in at town,
Right.
because it won't have been added yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was voted in? I don't remember.
I don't remember. the
Oh,
number
good,
that
I'm not
we
the
put
only
in
one.
there. It wasn't a
But
lot.
you
In
know-
previous years, it had been significant, it wasn't a lot this year. Because there was a bunch there and we wanted to get up there first to know what to plan for.
And
Well,
then,
you're not gonna have enough money.
well, and that's one thing that we should be looking at is.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
to build the whole, I mean,
Oh, right,
we've
right.
got enough, how
We
much
know we're
money
not
did you
gonna build
say?
133.
133.
And it all depends on what we wanna do
So,
and what the size is and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we'll have to start having that conversation soon. but
well, no, I
to
can
get
tell
there
you, right,
first.
I can tell you in 2 minutes what it's gonna take to get to the stone wall.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, because that, we'll have to start having that conversation of what should be up there for a shed or other structure, et cetera, in order to house the sand and salt in the future. Because that way we can start, that's what this CAP should see to start planning for
Well,
that.
yeah, and
Next
how,
time.
who we will
And
chat with and
or
do,
to
get
have a
some
number
bids.
that we put up for like, hey, we just wanna get this done and make it a warrant article on its own to finish it. That would be possible too.
But do the due diligence to know what,
Right, we need to know what
This
we
should
want, so
probably
we know
be-
exactly how much we want.
yeah. some
So
kind
this,
of
this is just
committee
trying to
on
get
what-
to there.
Who's done the research on what,
Mhm.
how and where and when this salt sheds will look like. And how much we wanna work towards road-wise before we get to
Right.
knowing what our budget would be.
Yeah, to get on the other side, to dig that out, the gravel alone delivered's $21,000. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
How much would it cost for you to be boxing it out? How much will you have it? Cause you said gravel alone is 21,000.
Oh, just to box that out and haul that stuff off. Gee, no,
I mean, you don't have to do it right this minute.
No, it's all about 16 grand. 20 grand will get through the stone wall.
20,000 to box it out and then about 21,000 in material.
That's if it comes from Bosquen, but if we crush it ourselves, it's gonna be
Less.
less. We crush it on the Dustin Road and use that material back there for fill. It's probably gonna cut that, cause it's, even if we crush 3,000 yards down there at $6 a ton, at $6 a yard, that's 18 grand. And, because it needs 3 grand, but it's only gonna be, let's see, it's 300 feet long to the stone wall. Times 26.
Are you doing 26 wide?
Yeah, to make a 20-foot road to give a 3-foot shoulder, right? Okay, so that divided by 27. So that's 866 yards. So say 900 yards of material at 3 feet deep.
Are you gonna use 3 feet deep structurally, or,
Well,
I mean, you'll
down
probably
in
take
that-
it out and then maybe you put some,
Yeah,
little bit,
maybe
some
some of that stuff in that hole I can use, but it's.
structural, you know, and then
Yeah,
about,
but-
about a foot of the structural material? Or you
Well,
do 3
it
feet?
probably will do 2 feet, and then it's good if you put a foot of 3-inch
Minus,
on the base, and then a good foot of gravel, because you're gonna, if you might as well do it right the first time.
Yeah.
Cause there's a lot of water in that side hill. I walked up there the water,
And trucks full of gravel and sand aren't light.
yeah, so, that's.
Do it right the first time.
well, within reason.
All right. Does that get most of the numbers you were interested in for?
But yeah, I mean, it looks like probably on all round figures, a lot of times they always say your material is about what it's gonna cost you to box it out and do, so about
Yeah,
$40,000.
and what
you're hoping.
what I did to, and.
And what
I
did we
figured-
already have into the first part? How much was in the first part of it that we already did?
Dana would have to tell you, but I have.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Because yeah, I figured to
So
get.
that's just leaving where you've already done and going up to, that's where you're.
It's 300 feet from where we left off to the stone wall.
Okay.
That side, right where we left off to that valley, some of that's gotta come out. And then that hill going up, that's gotta come off quite a bit, other than, instead of having that, so it's gradual. Then when we go through the stone wall, some of that's gotta come out too, so you can lose your grade.
What do you do with all that dirt and stuff that comes out of there?
You got a hole you wanna fill in?
Probably could find one. No, but I mean, can we sell it to somebody else if we don't have to use it at our town? No?
Find a place and I mean, it's, a lot of it's just junk.
Oh, okay, just like fill, just regular fill type
Is
stuff.
there a place we can lose it up top?
Once we get up there, there's gonna be a lot to lose, but right now, I mean, we gotta build a road to get up there.
Right.
Once we get to the stone wall, and then we can, the stuff that's up there, I'm gonna try to, it does go over the bank on the back
I
side,
don't know if
but
there's lower.
the only thing that I've always found trouble with, when you bury, I mean, fill is fine, but when you start burying stumps
Stumps, right.
and all that, wigwag and all that, you either pay now or later.
Yeah, no, I was not stumps, I just meant
Yeah.
any of the extra material.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet. Well, I think that gives us what we need to be able to plan with. So let's make sure that we remember those numbers and have them ready for the CIP when that comes up.
What do you mean the CIP? You're gonna start, you're not gonna do, so
So
where are
this
we
is-
at? I mean,
For talking about if, not for this, but for knowing kind of where everything is and historical numbers so that they can get more of a picture for anything that would remain that would be up top if it's not already done out of this. And then to be able to plan for, even if it's the next year, the shed and the actual building stuff up top.
Right,
So just
so
have the
what
more
we-
numbers that they have, the better, so we can
right,
make
so
sure they have
what the
everything
CIP
accurate.
needs to do is we need to figure out,
Yeah, what we're gonna put
right,
for
we
the
have
building.
enough money. If you got $133,000, we're gonna have enough money to get up there and get that leveled off and still have some in the bank. I should hope.
So it's time to have people start talking about what should be up there.
Well, I don't know about people. I think you need to start looking what other people have and find out what you want.
Well, yeah, cause that's the only way you're gonna get a number.
Right.
And what we have to have and what we don't have to have.
Right.
So
And-
probably some information from you would be what is the size that you feel is
Right,
adequate.
the
And then we
yardage,
can-
the
And then we can
yardage.
also compare, I mean, I don't, what's that, 40 by 60?
What, over here?
30.
Oh, no, that thing's gotta be,
See, I just wouldn't make a fool, cause I don't know.
that's good, there's 3 bays, what are they, 12 foot?
Yeah.
And then it's gotta be that deep, so, 40. And that doesn't, you gotta have a building to put 3,000 yards of material in underneath, so you're not digging it out, because right now, I haul the sand over, dump it, fill the inside of that shed, fill the outside, and then that leaves out of the sand shed. So then you wait for a sunny day, and then you go move 6 bucketfuls of sand and snow to the back of the pile to put 2 buckets in. It costs the town a lot of money doing it that way. So if you had a building that you could put 3,000 yards of material in underneath, it would make you money.
Can I ask you something? I noticed your barn, I love the barn that you just put. Is that anything that we could use for like a salt
They
shed, that
build them
type
all
of?
over the place. He just built one in Vermont up there that was 100, that's 62 feet by 156. And he just built one at the train station where they dump the salt out. That's like 160 feet wide by 300 and something feet long. He builds them all over the place for
So it's,
highway garages.
it could be used for our salt shed.
Yep.
That
That's
is
got a
probably
20
cheaper and it won't
That-
rest.
That's got a 30-year warranty, not it's a 20-year warranty, but, and then every year, of course, it depreciates, but
Yeah, right.
for that tarp, but, it's a 30-year,
But it has to be a lot, I would say, a lot more reasonable price than to build a whole wooden structure.
it is,
So, and it looks cool too.
it
I
is.
like
The
that.
only thing that I would do different, which, when I talk to the guy that does this, when you do them for a sand shed or a salt shed, I do the cement, we did the wooden into the ground with the
Oh,
cement
yeah.
and everything, but put up your cement walls
Cement walls,
with your, you'd put your liner underneath it to catch all the salt and,
Oh, yeah.
Like a bunker.
yeah.
in a sense.
Well, I think that looks really neat.
But
I
they,
think that's-
How do you go about though, I think that would be something that should be drawn up in some kind of plans, because
Oh, no,
well, no, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, I'm not even placing an opinion necessarily, I'm just saying there's different controversies of what a building should look like, okay, in our town,
yeah,
okay? So I would want that to have a couple options.
Oh, yeah.
With pricing,
a
because.
bunch of options.
It works for you well, it's just, but it is definitely a big white dome. So, to some people, they love it, and some people, it's an eyesore, you know what I mean? Just like any big building,
Yeah.
right? I'm not judging, I'm just saying that I would wanna, I just didn't know how that worked.
No, that's right, but I'm
Those-
just thinking price too. I'm a
Yeah, so-
cheapskate.
So based on knowing that we have the funds to get up there and do the flattening, and basically be ready to put something up there, probably the most sensible thing would be to get a couple options of what could be put up there, and ask the people at town meeting, which one do you wanna fund?
Yeah,
Yeah,
No,
no, that's.
that's
Because
good option.
we could put like 2 or 3 warrant articles
Yeah.
on and say, this one does this one does this, and this one does this, so don't vote for them all.
Yeah,
Those are options, I'm not saying that's how we do it, but those are the kinds of things that we can do. Or we say, this is the placeholder number in the warrant article, it's this, or this, please amend it to which one the public feels is
you'd
the
go over and
most
see
appropriate.
Timmy Allen and say, hey, you guys just built this new place over here, what would you do different? Different people, different
Exactly.
places.
Right,
And,
yes.
and the idea is great, that you put out 3 options, but you're not gonna know what it is until you put it out competitively be bid.
Right.
So, if they're a warrant article, hey, this is what this is gonna cost, this will cost, you can give pluses and minuses, what they're gonna do, what's gonna work best for Emmett, or what's, Warner's done, or Sutton's done, or whatever, but we can't tell anybody what they're gonna cost.
Until you get prices
Until
on
you-
all three of them, but you could do
Exactly,
that,
and
but
how many people are gonna price all three until they're
Yeah.
fully designed?
you,
So,
we could also.
What's gonna work best for the town is what really needs
Yeah,
to
you
be-
gotta find what you want, then somebody sits down and,
Is there-
because it costs a lot of money.
Should there be somewhat of a committee that puts that together?
Yeah,
Good idea.
That would make sense.
Because, like, having somebody that, what would you put a committee of, what, 3, 4 people and?
one on the committee, and then you don't have anybody to argue with.
That's right. Right.
No, yeah.
Oh, I know.
No.
I was trying to think of a smart butt thing to
No,
say
no,
back,
no,
but
no.
I got nothing.
No, I was gonna talk to you folks, I mean,
Because
like,
otherwise I
maybe
feel like we're shooting
maybe
in the
go see
dark.
Timmy Allen, see if he wanted to be on the committee. I mean, he's a road agent in Warner, he's a taxpayer in Webster.
Yeah,
A
builder. Pete could do, if Pete would be willing, or anybody, a kind of somebody that does building.
Cam Lorden, he's a builder, he's on the firehouse, I
So-
mean, somebody from the planning board, either Marlo or Addie.
So I think we should have some sort of committee. I don't think we should try to figure out exactly who's gonna be on
No,
it.
no, no, I was just using
Um,
that example.
so-
Absolutely, you're right.
Well, we have
I
time.
would like to suggest
Who wants to
that
volunteer?
you, Emmett, as the kind of building, construction, et cetera, folks that are here, work together with Dana to get people who would make sense, and then Dana can reach out and ask them if they would be willing, and then we can get the names in front of us and then approve and create the subcommittee to do it.
I just made myself more work.
Yep.
Yeah,
God,
You
am I gonna
did.
sock? No.
didn't you like that, just the one?
Yeah. Yeah, all right.
Okay,
In lots of ways.
so, I think that takes care of that. Did you have anything else on the road you wanted to add, or? I know I kind of
No, we'll get through
interrupted
this
a bit.
storm and hopefully nobody loses their power and all this and that. Some people you listen to said 6 to 12, and then there's
I
some other
know.
people that are
Oh,
saying
yeah.
3 to 4.
But it's gonna be 40
and,
degrees.
2 to 3 feet.
Yep, you're hearing it all.
And, the hillbilly weatherman got hit over the head and he's out of
That's what
commission.
somebody was saying today.
Yeah, no, he's out of it. So you won't hear his,
Well, it's like when we were
Version.
gonna get our power back.
Yeah.
We were supposed to get our power back, it was 7 PM the first day.
Yeah, right.
3 days later, we got it by 11:30 at night.
yeah.
I'll tell you though, driving down 127, I'm like, no way are we gonna get this back within a week. Hey, everybody did well,
So-
I think.
So that other morning, when I went over to check Bash and Hollow and Garish, I came out of Garish and I was headed over to the Dustin Road, because I take a ride around to see what's
Yeah,
what's
that's
going
good.
on in the mornings
Yeah.
with the power out and what's going on, what roads are open back up and what aren't for an emergency. There had to be 15 or 18, there was 3 trucks coming in
Yeah.
Garish. There must have been 15 or 18 trucks at Johnny Martin's and then pickups, and it looked like a small fair. They were all out there figuring out what was going on. And I went by there, and then there was 4 more at the Four Corners. So there was,
I was counting too, because I counted about 40 trucks within this small area.
Yeah.
And I said, boy, they're really working, about time.
yeah, so they all work like bees, and
But I will say it did take 6 trucks to cut a line that already was not possible to be energized, just up front of, between our houses.
Oh, really? Oh,
We
jeez.
weren't gonna talk about the efficiencies, all right?
But it's wonderful
Because-
that they're getting things done.
Saw a lot
Anyway.
of that too.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and good luck for the rest of the week.
Yeah, let's all do the non-snow
So,
dance.
so that moves us on to our old business. Do we have any that
I
is
don't
not
have
listed?
any old business.
All right.
Yay.
So new business is the meeting policy and
Thank you,
the
thank you.
Merrimack Youth baseball and softball.
Hey, we're on a committee together.
God, who will be standing,
Are we
right?
asking him to stay for afterwards or no?
I hadn't asked.
Okay, that's
so, but
So that moves us on to the meeting policy. Unfortunately, Russ is not here. Russ did most of the
We'll see
digging
what
initially
all-
to get us the ones that he put in the package as
How much you all got. and-
policies that he's found.
It's not going across the bridge. You gotta go all, it's a pain in the,
yeah.
whatever, but we'll pick it up now.
So then we
Okay.
might as well
Yeah.
not
Thanks, Emmett.
Yeah.
So there's the policies, and he could have given some more background to them. But in essence, what we have previously done has always been what I announced at the beginning of this meeting. But I had stopped announcing it because it had just kind of worked self-sufficiently until a few weeks ago. So we can look at continuing that and kind of allowing the chair to do something.
There's some of your officials over there.
Excuse me, chief. Sorry.
I gotta hear everything you say.
Yeah.
That's right, we're writing it down.
So there's basically like kind of doing it that way. There's we make up a set of bullet point lists of things that we want and we make that our actual policy. And then there's a huge long policy like was also put in the packet from, I don't know which town, but it was copied from one of the others.
I think Russ got this from Barrington, the long one.
All right,
And
get rid of
then-
that.
Okay, just
And of
do
course, then
Barrington.
there's the ultimate, go with Robert's rules, which is the way that most of your state stuff is done. I have zero interest of trying to do the state's, like Robert's rules. Even when we have town meetings, while we do use some of the points from Robert's rules, we have the moderator's rules. And they do the same thing at the school board. It's usually about 1 page of rules, not 12.
No, please. Hey, because
So-
with that, somebody's gonna break one.
So really, the question boils down to how much do we want to prescribe, and what are the kind of enforcements and/or enforcement mechanisms when that's not followed? And I don't really know the answer to
I
that
was gonna say that.
second one,
I got asked that about some health today.
unless
When
it's,
they
you
break the rule,
know,
what do you do?
because there's like, okay, I talked or something that might break a rule, or, yeah, you're not recognized. But then if there's like disorderly conduct, then, okay, it's up for the police to handle, and that's not us. However, I don't know how or what would enforce dealing with the policy beyond, we're sorry, you're gonna have to leave. But how have you seen that work in other places?
Well, I mean, I've told you, I've had a variety of people that I've worked with. And one fellow that was the chairman in a town that I worked for, he was very direct and strict. And if he didn't want someone talking right then, he told them, and he would move things along. Now, a lot of people didn't like that, as you can imagine. But he did run, it was very efficient and got things done. I think that maybe you're looking for some sort of midpoint from that. And this policy that I just cobbled together by looking at a few other towns that have less formal policies. You know, I thought that gave you some sort of framework of what you might want to think about.
Yeah, 'cause Webster's not that strict. I mean, we've always been kind of laid back, and it's been working for years. So once in a while, you get somebody that's a little out of control, but So, but that's what the moderator is, that's his thing,
Are we
really.
talking just town meeting, or are we talking also?
No, we're
Or
talking
anything,
these
all the
meetings.
time.
Yeah.
I was talking.
Yeah,
Because
it is me.
because
This
at town
man can
meeting,
be the
it's,
guy.
it's up to the moderator.
Okay, so when we say that, I think,
And-
my only thing is, and there again, it's sometimes, you kind of, some people just talking when you're trying to do business,
Mhm.
is really should be down to the chair to, or one of us, I guess, it doesn't just have to be you, to say, hey, wait your turn.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And I think the big thing is, since I've been on this with you as the chair, is we want everybody to be able to say their piece. But if it's just gonna go, they gotta have something they should also say what they're gonna talk about, so that we're also prepared. If they have a question, they go in to see Dana, they say, hey, I have a question about this. So
And-
we
and
can
we-
somewhat do our
yeah.
research, which we kinda do now, right?
Yeah, we do have a policy for what is required in order to become an agenda topic.
Right, and then, when they ask the question, I think what the big thing is knowing when to say, we've answered it, or we can't answer it, and now we need to move on
Mhm.
from that.
I think if I could just throw out, I think a select board meeting is not a public hearing.
Right.
And that's, I think it's fine.
So
if
how
people-
about, what if they do wanna talk about something, I'm not sure how to make the example, but I know where it's like, well, that's not necessarily for us to be discussing, it's a legal matter that the attorneys that's what they do, we're not all attorneys, I'm never gonna say that I am.
I'm not.
Well-
And then that person, to sit there and babble about it, I say babble, talk about it, when we're not gonna have that answer, nor do we really have a right to answer that question on behalf of the town. I say that because, legally, we don't, the town needs to be protected.
So one of the things that's interesting and is why I chose to do it this way in the start, and maybe the board doesn't want to do it this way anymore, is because on most of the topics, we want to allow somebody to add their thoughts, their questions, or their knowledge to what we're discussing before we make a decision. Versus if we do what most boards do, which is you can talk during public comment at the end of the meeting for 2 or 3 minutes. The decision's already happened, it's too late,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. So that's kind of why I've tried to do it this way and why we
Makes
started
sense.
doing that. But at the same time, it certainly has made meetings longer than they would have been otherwise.
It's a hard
And
call.
when people don't want to listen to their talking, so let them, and don't try to banter back and forth, that causes problems, especially when we're trying to not only understand it, but trying to enforce, like, hey, let them talk. And so there's pluses and minuses to both styles and ways. I'm open to whatever the board wants to do, but that's just some historical context there.
I think it's all been going really well, except for one time. And you did a good job, Dave. And that's the thing, but people are used to in this town,
Well, you're very
speaking up.
patient about this.
Right,
Yes.
more than I am.
If anything, I'm too patient with listening to people, as both of these ladies will tell me. Hey, you can run the meeting.
Okay, you're all done, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I think they've been going really
Yeah, I
well,
don't
and
know that we
you
need
know,
to do
if it
anything
ain't, if it
changing.
ain't broke, don't try to fix it. So
Okay, so,
I would stick with what
so
we're
it
doing.
sounds to me like we wanna stick with basically what we intended to be doing, but perhaps I should, as I started at this meeting, announce those rules each time to remind people that, hey, do it the right way.
Or you're gonna shut them down.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
All right.
More or less, you are always willing And I think what you're saying, if you wait until the end, which sometimes you think, okay, you just wanna get through these things, but if it's a topic that we're talking about, we're gonna make a decision, if there's somebody that wants to say something about it, you'd rather hear it while we're chatting about it, so
Yes.
that you have their opinion, instead of waiting until the end.
Yeah, we wanna make them, A, heard, but
Yeah.
B, heard well
Which
it
is
can
what we've
matter
been
and make
doing,
it,
right.
make it an impact. So, all right.
Do we have to do anything?
If that is the, I don't think we need to do anything, because the board's pleasure sounds like do the same thing.
Yep, do the same thing.
So that moves us to the Merrimack Youth Baseball Softball, which
Yes.
I don't see anything in the package.
No, I didn't give you anything in the packet. They've got two issues that they would like. They would like permission to work on the field.
Okay,
They're volunteers to work on the field. They would like to, what they say is they'd like to try and spruce up Webster Field, rototill and spread grass seed infield mix. And that's what they.
now, is this a separate, like, nonprofit, or is this associated with the school?
I believe this is a separate nonprofit.
Yeah, I don't think it's a,
It's not associated with the school.
No.
There are 39 Webster children in this program. They've also asked if the town would be willing to pay for a porta potty, which I would say, at the worst case scenario, is probably 4 months at $135 a month. So what was that,
I
like
thought we-
$540?
But I guess it's the opposite side of the school from, because we normally have one down at the soccer field, right?
We have done the one on the soccer field for the soccer program. The other thought I had, that maybe the town would wanna offer to partner with them.
so then have two porta
Maybe-
potties?
No, maybe pay half, maybe, or
No,
something.
I meant, so you're talking about there's a porta potty that was at the soccer field
There are
and it-
two programs.
and the baseball field.
There's the soccer program,
Yep.
and the porta potty we have paid for. They
Okay.
bring the porta potty and leave it, and
Yep.
then they service it. And then when the program is done, I call the potty
Okay.
people and they come take it away.
So there's no, but when they play baseball, there's no porta potty out there? Maybe not.
I
My kids
guess
are too
not.
old now.
I guess
Yeah.
I mean, you could centrally locate it better, but I don't see why, if we do it for one, we wouldn't do it for the other
Well,
person.
Yeah, so the two things I can think of there would be, if you're trying to put, like, save costs, there may be a spot between the two fields, for example, over by the gazebo area, like in that central spot, but then you're kinda close to the playground.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
The second thing is, we have the park in the back. I don't think we've got bathrooms
No.
associated with that.
No.
So we could actually be providing a service to the town at the same time.
Absolutely.
If there was a porta potty over, like, behind the fence of that, so that people that go down to the beach and the park could use it.
I understand what you're saying, but I cannot imagine these kids playing ball up here, running around. They'd have to cross the school.
No, up at our park behind the ball field.
Yeah, where the river is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
one-
field is over here.
What,
Well,
Could
there's the
have it
soccer
closer.
field, that's one thing, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Is
this
that
new
the
one.
field they're playing on?
Well, that's the soccer field.
so you
The
have soccer and baseball
field is
field out
behind
behind
the school, up back behind by the public,
Kind of by the
the
river.
Pearson Park.
Okay.
So I would say,
Well, if that's the case.
put
I
one
mean,
there, and then we should still have one, and I
Yeah.
don't see why we wouldn't
So if we
pay for
leave
that.
one at each case,
Yeah.
and then this just adds services to the town.
Absolutely.
So I think that makes sense.
So more or less, when you pull in, you go out behind the school and you got your baseball field and you got the parking lot, I would assume we'd put it somewhere right there in the parking lot area,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
you know, so, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Cause if,
I guess I was thinking that field and back belonged to the school,
No,
okay?
That field is the one that is partially owned by the town, partially owned by the school. and both of them together create the baseball diamond.
You know, I can't imagine why I'm confused about this.
And then behind and beyond that is Pearson Park, which is our parking and
Yeah.
down into the.
That's a
the river.
no-brainer.
So I think that makes sense, because we'll just provide that to the townspeople as well.
Okay,
The key would be to make sure that we don't end up with problems with what ends up in it, as has happened at some other places that I have dealt with outside of town.
now, I will tell you that Fred Reagan said that the school only owns the outfield section, basically foul pole to foul pole.
Yeah.
And so, in other words, they'd be working on our section of the field.
Yeah, so
But-
the,
You go crazy.
the thing that I would say there is, since it is joint with the school, would be that, and this is just me speaking, but my suggestion would be that, yeah, it makes sense for us to provide the porta potty, and if the organization wants to do this to spruce up and make the field better, that sounds good. But any motion to allow them to do that should be contingent on the school also saying they're allowed to do it. So that, for example, they don't try to do it when the school is scheduling something to be used out there, or so on and so forth.
I will talk with Fred about it, yeah.
So I doubt they're gonna have a problem, other than, hey, please don't do it this weekend or that week or whatever. But I think just to make things make sense, we should, I mean, it is joint owned, so.
Okay. So I'm hearing say that yes, they can do this as long as they schedule it properly with the school.
Does that sound?
I mean,
Yeah.
the only other worry, I'm sure this wouldn't happen, is if they start it, they finish it. You know what I mean? You don't wanna take it from the condition it's in and make it worse, not that they would do that.
Now, wait a minute, what are you talking about?
Well,
The
you
park or
start
the
heroin,
school?
start, turning it over, the soil over, and, replanting and stuff.
Oh, I
That's
see.
quite the undertaking, where they, you've already got something that's
We took
established.
the sod off and we planted half of it, but not the rest.
Right, or they don't
No.
put the right,
But now we're talking about the
fertilizer and
school, right?
stuff
We're
to
talking
it.
about the school?
To make it
Or
grow.
we're talking about the
No,
town?
we're on
No,
our side
this
now.
is another group that's asking to do it.
Oh, all right.
I mean, you know what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
and then, when you go to replant it, you've gotta put the proper
Yeah, right.
stuff to it so
right.
it grows, cause otherwise it could become worse than it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, that would be my concern.
I
Yeah.
could mention that to them, I mean,
Also,
Do they-
in a nice way.
Do they have a plan?
Watering is the biggest thing.
Yeah, well, true, yes, so here you're trying to reestablish glass and
Yeah.
it decides not to rain, but we haven't really had that problem.
Oh, but we will if you.
Once
Who
they
will
turn
make
that
sure
soil
it-
over,
that it
exactly.
appropriately grows in and sets itself.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
sort of
So
thing.
I
With the
guess, can we get a plan of what they're thinking exactly they wanna do and what they're gonna do to mitigate, to grow the grass, watering, fertilizer, seed, that kinda stuff. Just,
So that would be.
Well,
So
Park
I would,
committee?
yes, we can get a plan, they're very anxious, of course, because
I
it's
would
getting
move
close, but.
that we allow the Merrimack Youth Baseball and Softball nonprofit to upgrade the baseball field on the condition that they have approval from the school as well for scheduling and planning, and provide a full plan for maintenance and getting the seed to fully set so that we don't end up with something worse.
I'll second that.
all in favor, right?
But before I do the all in favor, are there any further, other comments on this? All right, any other comments here?
No?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll go ahead and have a centrally located porta potty.
Yes.
Yeah, and
No,
don't have it be
no,
on
this
the,
is-
and make sure it's on the line. So I want you out there measuring.
All right,
Okay.
so that moves us to,
The toilet does.
unless you have other new business to insert?
No, I have something under correspondence I'd
Okay,
like
so
to
that
talk
moves
to
us
you
to
about.
correspondence.
and this just came, hot off the press, but I'd like, this is the grant.
Oh, it's
state-
money coming in?
Well, yes, but it will go out very quickly.
Like most money does.
We are overdue by a year of the hazard mitigation plan, and I've been chasing everyone for the grant that they're supposed to pay for part of this. It's $12,000, we are responsible for, I'm sorry, it's $10,000, we're responsible for 1,000. The grant is for 9,000.
That's reasonable.
And that's what's been done in the past. I would like to get this signed, sealed, and delivered and get it back to the state. And it's normal boilerplate grant work that we've done many times. What the board needs to do, if you choose to accept this, is to do the following motion. And if you wanted to appoint someone, i.e. me, to sign this and administrate it.
Can you handle $9,000?
I'll try.
Okay.
I'll give my best
He'll
shot.
do a good job.
Or maybe I'll have to go back in the porta potty department, I'm not sure.
Put it on the red line.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the select board, when documenting the meeting minutes. Okay, that's fine. So I would move to accept the terms of the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program as presented in the amount of $9,000 for updating the local hazard mitigation plan. Furthermore, the board is acknowledging that the total cost of this project will be $10,000, in which the town will be responsible for a 10% match of $1,000. And also to make Dana the authorized to sign all documents related to the grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Here you go, sir.
See, your federal grant fund program stuff for the bridge came in handy for something.
Oh, didn't it? Yeah.
Wait, he'll be pulling his hair out for the bridge, no problem.
I'm always amazed at how much these plans cost. It's just amazing.
What plans cost? The bridge plan?
No, the bridge,
Well,
don't even go there.
Oh, I was
The-
gonna say.
The hazardous mitigation
Oh,
plan,
oh,
you know. but-
I will state for correspondence, without stating names, that I did get a few different things related to trees and who's clearing and when and so on, which is why I asked earlier about that. So that should clear up all of that correspondence.
And then I did have it was the notice from the weeding company for Pillsbury Lake.
Oh, Pillsbury
Oh,
Lake.
That you get every year.
Yes, Pillsbury Lake is continuing to chemically treat for de-weeding to catch back up and fix their weed problem. As they, in theory, were supposed to have been doing all along. I believe it's one or two extra treatments this year, which then would put them back onto the normal maintenance of one or two per year, if it works correctly. If not, it would be one more year of catch-up, is basically what the company says. Not our problem, we don't pay for it, it's all up to Pillsbury Lake, but we get noticed because they are in town. That way, anybody who is interested can go talk with Pillsbury Lake Village District when they make those choices. Any further correspondence?
No.
All right. That brings us to public comment. Is there any generic public comment or specific public comment? Yes.
Thank you all for all you do.
Thank you, and we
I'm
hope
sorry
that
I
you'll-
haven't been coming before lately, but I have thought about it for a long time. But I'm really pleased with how you do things. It's nice.
Well, thank you
It's
for
good.
coming, and
It's great.
we hope we've convinced you to join in one of the other boards and committees.
Yeah, right.
Not quite there. Already someplace else.
All right, any other further public comment?
I just have one.
Yes.
And that would be that I noticed that Facebook was really the de facto communication tool during the storm. Everybody that could be on was, and there was a lot of information exchanged that way. So if we can persuade other townspeople to contribute, you did, Dave, I saw you out there several times, and just to keep the town informed of what's going on would be a great thing, especially when you can't move around.
We do have both a official police and fire department set of pages
Yeah.
that publish information, though a no longer with us officer was the one that normally took care of those pages for each of them. So they are a little more sparsely used than previous. It might be a good recommendation to ask either or both of the chiefs if they could find somebody that may be able to populate them a little more often.
I know that Emmett did go ahead and post something the morning after sort of thing, that said almost all the roads are closed, please be careful, stay
Yeah.
off the roads if you can. And that was helpful.
Yep.
I mean, most of us were pretty isolated, so we didn't go anywhere. We didn't know what was going on in the town.
As long as you have electricity, which we didn't have for 3 days.
Well, a lot of us have cell phones that were still
Yeah.
working.
My cell phone
slowly.
doesn't even work at my house because I'm too many cliffs around me.
Gotcha.
We
Sure.
get all the granite, so there ain't no
Yeah.
cell phones. But yes, a lot of people did find that, and apparently people who had Verizon were mostly able to access things in Pillsbury Lake, but other people not so much. But talk with your neighbors if you're over there, because some of them get 3 bars all the time and others get nothing. So. All right, any other further public comment? All right, that moves us on to our motions and approvals.
You have the minutes
Yes.
from March 18th.
I have one edit that I would like to suggest on that one. That is page 2, line 49, should replace, and they were not true, with, but they have not, and there is no, and there is a process that must be followed and has only begun. And that was for everybody else's inference. That was referencing the transfer station fees and someone saying, hey, I heard that all of the fees are going up dramatically.
This is on page 2, line 39?
49.
49.
49, I'm sorry.
And the thing says that I said, and they were not true. And it is fair and true to say that the fees have not gone up, but not, and as we explained there, not necessarily true to say that they aren't going to go up. But there was no set amounts or any of that, and we explained the process, which is through public hearings and so on. So
Okay.
that was why I suggested that change. So, but they haven't, and there is a process that is starting to be followed.
Okay. I just noticed on line 39, Dot's name is not proper in there.
I have an improper name.
Well, that wasn't really what I meant to say. You wouldn't like this name, though.
Oh, okay.
You know, we changed the spelling of both your first and last name, so that
Oh,
was,
all right.
you're 100% on that one.
All right. Any other comments on the minutes?
No.
All right. So I would move that we accept the minutes for March 18th as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And do you have anything further?
I have lots of items for you to approve and sign.
Okay.
I have, Russ has given me,
Yes. Tim.
applications that he has reviewed for veterans exemptions.
Oh,
I think they're all veterans exemptions. And he has done all the research on it.
he's determined all of them are
And
accurate.
he's
right?
determined, there's one people that have 2 veterans, so they have 2 in here. And so.
Just
it
for
was-
clarification, does that give 2 credits of the same amount?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yes, it does. And so the select board signs on the back.
In the back.
Right. Do
I
we
think we
have-
don't have a town full of them.
Oh,
We have a lot of them. We have a lot of veterans in town. It is
so that's
Very
good.
nice.
wonderful. And we
Oh,
thank
see.
all of
I
them.
was just saying for
for
signing.
their
You gonna print
service.
our name down here?
I will print your name.
You'll
yeah.
print things.
Yeah, because I'll know
I
who
knew
you
I'd get
are.
out of there.
Yeah.
Are you sure you know who you are?
Well, I'm not sure if I'd know who you were if I had to read your signature, but.
Yes, but you know
Because
my
I'm Maha.
signature.
Yeah.
Are there any other things for us to sign?
Yes, as part of the stipend policy, I would like you to approve the tax collector change in stipend.
Yeah, sign my name.
My signature's getting better.
Yeah. Oh, you mean we can read it?
Oh, no,
No,
no.
of course not.
It's a little less messy and a little less there.
Oh, I'll give you writing lessons. Okay, what's this?
Fun fact, the only thing I almost failed in grade school was penmanship.
Really? My God, I wouldn't believe that, David.
You didn't do the Palmer method, I can see that. We have an intent to cut. So that would be at the bottom.
I will give you this stack back.
Thank you.
My name's too big. I have to put the date
And
on
I'll
there
give this to Mario
someplace.
first to look over.
We also have a report of woodcut, so there's a bill. These are, as is normal, he has two copies of the same transaction. That needs signing here, and the warrant for the tax collector has to be signed.
Up at the top,
Up at the top,
okay. I'll put my middle initial in.
thank you.
And down at the
Yeah,
bottom.
other page.
I should just give these to you and then I can finish signing them because it takes me longer.
Ah, yes, and then the manifests.
Here you go, sir.
I think you had signed an abatement for the tax collector at your last meeting, maybe?
I think so.
And some people actually paid at the campground, so she's adjusted the
Okay.
figures.
Oh.
If you could re-sign them, please.
Wow,
Oh, wait a minute, I think I told Mrs. Hart.
all that for $4.
Yeah, that's about it. Although she did save us 77 cents on that.
Oh, well,
I
oh
was
man,
pretty-
$4.77. But a save is a save.
That one goes back.
That's back there.
Then I have the manifest.
Oh, this will
and the
keep
bills.
Marlo busy for a week.
And just because I'm curious, have we yet gotten our first Unitil bills with Webster Community Power?
Not yet. I will have those probably the first week in May.
I mean, it should have been March, like the March bill should have had it on it.
Well, it wasn't.
Interesting. Well, I'll give you the stack.
Oh, I'm sorry, I said May. That was, it will be, the March bill will be next week,
Oh,
April.
April.
Okay.
Oh, it's April, yeah, okay.
Time flies when you're having fun. April Fool's Day, I remember that today. I'm just trying to joke.
God.
Just because I see it here, annual and maintenance for Civic Plus, which is the website. There was, you and Russ were going to be looking into other alternative options.
We are
so-
looking into that, and if we were to cancel, we would get the difference back. But they're threatening to shut off our website if I don't pay that.
Okay.
Hope you have a backup.
So, so I thought it might be a good idea if I did that.
Yeah, good idea.
Which one is Intra-Systems?
I'd have to look in the bills. I think it's something to do with, I think it's the fire department.
Oh, in here?
Yeah, Intra-Systems. You're getting close. Very close.
Very cool.
Oh, okay.
A lot of H's, huh?
Yes. Oh, yeah, all right.
There it is. Oh, yeah, that's the Barracuda, what they call the Barracuda
Oh, okay.
for the police department.
Okay.
It's what they are server.
Yeah, so the Barracuda will be well, Barracuda's known for firewalling, but that's also their backup system.
And it's to do with the
That
secure
makes sense, okay.
Justice Department approved,
Mm-hmm.
all that.
Quality Inn, I'm assuming, is one of your
It's
clients.
one of my customers, yes. As tempting as I'd love to take a vacation in Loudon, New Hampshire.
Oh, come on, there's fun things to do
Oh,
there.
I'm sure there is.
All right. That answers my questions. Once you've
This
had a
is a
chance.
bill for postage that I paid directly from the bank account.
Wow. What'd you send out?
Well,
the
it was
abatement
a
change.
heavy month with,
Yeah, I guess so.
with the, inventories and,
Oh, yeah, inventories.
I thought we did all of that with our postage machine.
we do, but that's the postage, you have to pay for the postage.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought you said that you went to the post office. Like,
Well, even, he may have gone to the post office, but he probably ran it through the machine before
Right.
he went.
my ears are just that great right now.
And this is the
Postage.
Visa bills.
Visa bills. Oh. Boy.
Thank you.
Visa bills.
We're getting another program for the telephones here. Our bill, which is normally $568, will now be $330.
Wow.
So I'm pretty excited about that.
Who's giving us that?
TDS,
TDS?
Mm.
And don't we have TDS now?
we do.
Just shows you how long they've been ripping you off. No, just
But-
kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
I love how they come up with those savings, I feel the
So
same
how do
way.
they, so they just call you and say, gee, we want you to save money?
No, because I called, I had a complaint.
Oh, okay.
And then they,
Tell you about the
then he
specials.
said, oh, we have a special going on, a
Is
fire
this-
and water
it is
sale, so
scary,
I took
though.
it.
Really?
Yeah.
Gee, it's funny, they don't send stuff in their bills about all these special things.
Well, if they gave it to everyone, they would, you
That's
know.
right.
The thing I will say, as frustrating as TDS is, having lived in enough places to deal directly with all of the major providers of internet and phone, TDS is by far the best, even as bad as they are.
Really?
You won't convince me of that.
It took me 8 months to get service corrected from AT&T with a DSL line, and it took me 4.5 months to get somebody to come out and finish their installation of connecting 2 wires for Comcast.
I can believe that. Comcast.
After 4 hours on hold, literally 4 hours on hold.
There was, it was in the business news about, the major telephone providers are in front of Congress asking if they can charge more to the people that have home phones. And the reason is, 1 in 20 houses now has a home phone, and everybody else has cell phone.
Cell phones, yeah.
And so those telephone companies having to take care of the lines and fix them when they go down and all the rest of that. So they're asking for permission to pass those costs off to the 1 in 20 that still has a home phone.
So the thing that I'll say
If you
about
have a
that.
home phone, it's going up.
So the thing I'll say about that
Thanks.
here, for TDS here, in at least the majority of town, I think there might be 1 or 2 roads on, within Pillsbury Lake that still have copper line that go down them. Every place else in town is fiber optic only.
Yeah.
So your internet, your TV, your home phone, all is one thing, there is no additional. And the gray box that, in mine, it's in my basement, and most people's on the side of their house, that turns that fiber optic connection into your network or your phone is the same no matter what they do.
Internet or telephone.
Yep, because it has coming out of it, depending on what the box specific is, either 2 or 4 telephone lines and 2 or 3 Ethernet lines that come out of it to give you your network and proper phone. And so they're not gonna change or do anything different as far as TDS is concerned. If it's like Verizon down in Massachusetts at my mom's house, they actually have 3 different lines that can run to the house. So they probably should charge something of that nature. TDS should not here. They'll probably find a way to do it, but they
Sure
should.
they do.
Do we have anything else to say?
That's all I have.
All right, is there any need for a non-public?
There is not.
All right, any further public comment before we close? Any last statements?
Hey,
of the
good
board?
job.
All right, I would move that
Thank you for
we
coming.
close this meeting at 8:37.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye, said the captain.
Sitting there.